All right, so are you ready to dive into the metaverse with us today? It's been making headlines and generating buzz, but also facing some serious questions lately.
Yeah,
And we've got a stack of articles, company reports, and even some user opinions to sort of unpack,
absolutely.
to really try to figure out, is the metaverse alive and kicking, or is it starting to fade?
Yeah. It's interesting because just a few years ago, the metaverse was the hot topic in tech.
Right.
Everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
How it would revolutionize how we live and work online.
It felt like the future was arriving at our digital doorstep.
Right. We had tech giants throwing billions of dollars at it.
Yeah.
Futurists were predicting a total digital revolution.
Yeah, all those mind-blowing visuals of immersive virtual worlds where you could do almost anything, work, play, attend concerts.
Yeah.
But now, a few years later, some of that excitement seems to have fizzled out.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing now is a shift from that initial hype cycle to a more critical evaluation phase.
Yeah.
People are starting to ask the tough questions.
Yeah.
Will the metaverse actually deliver on those big promises, or will it just fade away like so many other overhyped tech trends?
Right. It feels like the honeymoon phase is over, and it's time to see if this relationship has any real substance.
Exactly. And to understand where the metaverse is headed,
Yeah.
we need to look at who's building it, what technologies are driving it, and whether people are actually using it.
So for anyone listening who hasn't been following every twist and turn of the metaverse saga,
Right.
let's start by zooming in on Meta.
Yeah.
They went all in on this concept, right?
Like
Well,
they have invested over $100 billion in virtual and augmented reality,
wow.
even changing their company name from Facebook to Meta.
Right.
They are betting big on the metaverse being the future.
That's a massive bet. But even Meta themselves have admitted they haven't completely cracked the code yet.
Yeah.
I was reading that they're calling 2025 a make or break year for their metaverse efforts.
That's right. So there's a lot riding on Meta's success in the metaverse, not just for the company itself, but for the entire concept.
Make or break. Huh. That sounds pretty intense.
It does.
Do you really think they're at a crossroads, or is that just typical tech hyperbole?
I think it's probably a bit of both,
Okay.
but there's no denying that the pressure is on.
Yeah.
So let's dive into what Meta's actually building and see if it has the potential to live up to the hype.
Okay, let's start with Horizon Worlds.
Yeah.
Meta's flagship platform for, well, everything, metaverse. It's designed for socializing, gaming, hanging out in virtual spaces,
Sure.
so all the things you'd imagine doing in a digital world.
Yeah.
What really jumped out at me is that they're describing it as social first, specifically targeting younger users who are already comfortable in online gaming worlds.
That's a very strategic move for sure.
Yeah.
They're going after a generation that's practically grown up in digital spaces.
Right, but is that enough? I mean, just because they're targeting a specific demographic doesn't guarantee success.
Right.
The real question is, can they actually create an experience that's engaging enough to keep people coming back?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Building a cool virtual world is one thing, but building a thriving community is another.
Right.
And it's not clear yet whether Horizon Worlds has cracked that code.
Well, let's break down some of the key features Meta is rolling out.
Yeah.
They've improved avatars so you can express yourself better with custom outfits, facial expressions. They've got new home environments, better ways to discover interesting worlds, and more tools for creators to build cool experiences.
Yeah.
On paper, it sounds like they're making progress.
And they're not just relying on their own developers.
Oh.
They're also partnering with big names like the UFC for live events,
Right.
Tidal for music streaming, and even the NBA for virtual basketball games.
So they're really trying to...
It seems like they're trying to create a virtual world
Yeah.
that's as dynamic and engaging as the real one.
Yeah, it does sound like they're pulling out all the stops. But I'm curious, do you think these features are really moving the needle in terms of user engagement?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's something we need to explore further.
Okay.
Because while these features might attract users initially,
Right.
they need something more substantial, a
Yeah.
reason to stay.
Exactly. It's not just about the bells and whistles. It's
Yeah.
about the overall experience.
Exactly.
So maybe the improved avatars and partnerships are a step in the right direction, but they're not the whole story.
Right. And that's why we need to look beyond the surface
Yeah.
and examine whether Meta's metaverse vision has the depth and substance to capture people's imaginations and keep them engaged.
Okay, so we've got the social aspect covered,
Right.
but Meta's vision for the metaverse extends beyond just virtual worlds, right?
Absolutely.
They're also heavily investing in AI and augmented reality,
That's right.
which is where things get really interesting for me.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
This is where we start to see the potential for the metaverse to truly blend with our physical reality.
I was reading about their Area Gen 2 glasses.
Yeah.
These aren't even for consumers yet. They're using them for research,
Right.
gathering data to make AI smarter and AR experiences even more mind-blowing.
Exactly. And this is where Meta's investments in AI could be a game changer for the metaverse.
Yeah,
Just imagine an experience that's so personalized, so intuitive,
right.
that the AI knows what you want before you even ask.
Yeah, you're right. I've been noticing how algorithms are getting better at predicting what I want to watch or buy online.
Uh,
It can be a little creepy,
Yeah.
but it's also incredibly convenient.
Right.
Imagine that level of personalization applied to the metaverse.
That's the idea that MetaPen is betting that AI will be the key to making the metaverse feel less clunky
Hmm.
and more like a natural extension of our thoughts and intentions.
It's a bold vision, but will it work? I guess that's what we'll be exploring as we delve deeper into the world of the metaverse. Okay, so AI could be the secret sauce that makes the metaverse truly mind-blowing, but what about the hardware? You can't have a metaverse without some way to actually experience it, right?
Right.
And Meta's been pushing their Quest VR headsets pretty hard, especially with that new Quest 3 hitting the market.
Yeah, the hardware is crucial.
Yeah.
It's your portal into this virtual world.
Oh,
And the reviews for the Quest 3 have been generally positive.
okay.
They've improved the visuals, the processing power, added mixed reality capabilities.
Yeah.
Some reviewers are even saying it's a strong contender against Apple's Vision Pro headset, which is significantly more expensive.
So better visuals, better tech, and a more affordable price point than some of the competition.
Mm.
That sounds like a recipe for wider adoption.
That's the hope. Making the metaverse accessible to more people is essential for it to really take off.
Yeah,
But even with a lower price point, there are always trade-offs.
right.
I've seen some user feedback mentioning that while the Quest 3's visuals are improved, they're still not quite as sharp as some users would like.
There's always a catch, right? Higher resolution often means a higher price tag.
Right.
But hey, maybe those trade-offs are worth it if it means more people can actually afford to experience the metaverse.
You've hit on a key point. For the metaverse to truly succeed, it needs to strike a balance between affordability and technological advancement.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it risks becoming an exclusive playground for only the wealthy or the tech-savvy.
Okay, so we've got the tech, we've got the vision, we've got the partnerships, and we've got the hardware. But the real question is anyone actually using this thing?
Right.
Because from what I've read, the user numbers for Horizon Worlds, Meta's flagship metaverse platform,
Yeah.
have been a bit underwhelming.
That's the reality check we need to have.
Yeah.
Building technology is one thing,
Right.
but building a thriving virtual community is another. And the numbers we've seen so far paint a somewhat sobering picture.
Yeah.
Back in 2022, Horizon Worlds had less than 200,000 monthly active users.
Wow.
That's far below the target Meta was hoping for. And there have been reports of many virtual worlds feeling like ghost towns.
Less than 200,000 users. That's not exactly a bustling metropolis, is it?
Yeah.
Especially considering how much money Meta has poured into this.
Right.
It makes you wonder what's missing. Why aren't people flocking to Horizon Worlds?
It's a complex question with no easy answers. But I think it boils down to a few key factors. First, as we discussed, the content needs to be compelling.
Right.
People need a reason to spend time in the metaverse.
Yeah.
It can't just be a collection of empty spaces or half-baked experiences.
Right.
It needs to offer something unique and engaging.
Okay, so content is king. What else is holding the metaverse back from reaching its full potential?
Accessibility is another crucial factor.
Yeah.
Even with more affordable headsets like the Quest 3 virtual reality is still a barrier to entry for many people.
Yeah.
And then there are the concerns about the potential downsides of the metaverse.
Yeah.
The things we've discussed, like social isolation, addiction, the potential for harassment.
Yeah. Those are valid concerns. It's important to acknowledge the potential risks as well as the potential benefits.
Absolutely.
And honestly, those risks might be making some people hesitant to dive headfirst into the metaverse.
And for the metaverse to truly succeed, those concerns need to be addressed head on. It's not enough to just focus on building cool technology. We need to think about the ethical and societal implications as well.
So it sounds like the metaverse is at a crossroads.
Yeah.
It has incredible potential, but it also faces some serious challenges. And the experts seem to be divided on where it's all headed.
There's definitely a lot of debate about the future of the metaverse. Some experts believe it's the inevitable next step in our digital evolution,
Right.
while others are more skeptical.
I'm curious to hear both sides of the argument. Let's start with the optimists. What are they basing their enthusiasm on?
Well, the optimists point to the rapid pace of technological advancement. VR and AR hardware is getting better and more affordable. Artificial intelligence has the potential to personalize and revolutionize the metaverse experience.
Hmm.
And there are already some really creative and engaging experiences popping up in various virtual worlds.
So they're saying the technology is there and the potential is undeniable. What about the skeptics? What are their concerns?
The skeptics raise some valid points. They worry about the social and psychological impacts of spending too much time in virtual reality.
Yeah.
They question whether the metaverse can really deliver on its promises, or if it will just become another passing fad.
A passing fad, huh? I guess there's a history of overhyped tech trends that ultimately fizzled out.
Exactly.
Remember 3D TVs? Or Google Glass?
Exactly. So it's understandable why some people are taking a wait-and-see approach to the metaverse.
Okay, so we've got the optimists who see the metaverse as the future, and the skeptics who are more cautious.
Right.
But regardless of which side of the fence you're on, it seems like Meta is doubling down on their bet. But they're not the only players in the game, are they?
Not at all. There are many other companies and platforms developing their own metaverse technologies and experiences,
Right.
often with very different approaches and goals.
So it's not just one metaverse.
Right.
It's a whole multiverse.
Exactly.
And that's what we'll be exploring next. We'll take a look at some of those other players, see what they're building, and how their visions for the metaverse differ from Meta's. All right, so we've spent a good chunk of time in Meta's corner of the metaverse, but as we just mentioned, they're not the only ones building in this space.
Right.
It's like a whole universe of companies out there, all with their own ideas about what the metaverse should look like.
What's really interesting is that we're seeing such a wide range of approaches.
Yeah.
Everything from gaming-centric platforms to social spaces to enterprise solutions.
Yeah.
It's like a melting pot of ideas and innovations.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out how to build this thing we call the metaverse.
Okay, so give me some examples. Who are some of the other players we should be keeping an eye on? What are they doing differently from Meta?
Well, one company that's caught my attention is Mawari.
Okay.
They're focusing on something called decentralized cloud rendering and streaming, which sounds pretty technical, but basically means they're making it easier to create and experience really high-quality 3D content in the metaverse.
Okay.
Think less lag, more detail, and a smoother overall experience.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I've tried some VR experiences that felt kind of clunky and low res, and it definitely breaks the immersion.
Right.
So Mawari is trying to solve that problem.
Exactly. They're trying to make the metaverse feel more visually stunning and realistic, even for people who might not have the latest and greatest hardware or the fastest internet speeds.
That's a smart move, especially if you want to make the metaverse accessible to a wider audience. And it ties back to what we were discussing earlier about the challenges of widespread adoption. What else is Mawari doing?
They've also developed this really cool tool called MXR, which allows artists to integrate live performances with digital art. Imagine attending a virtual concert.
Oh, wow.
Where the musician is surrounded by incredible interactive visuals that react to the music in real time.
Wow, that sounds pretty incredible. It's like taking the visual spectacle of a live show and amplifying it tenfold with the power of the metaverse.
Right.
It definitely makes you realize the creative possibilities that open up when you combine these technologies.
That's exactly what's so exciting about the metaverse. It is canvas for new forms of expression and experiences that we can't even fully imagine yet.
So Mawari is focused on the visual and artistic side of things.
Yeah.
What about the companies that are approaching the metaverse from a more business-oriented perspective?
Well, one company that stands out in that realm is Bix.
Okay.
They're taking more of a consulting and development approach, helping businesses create innovative metaverse experiences that leverage blockchain technology.
Blockchain, huh? So we're talking NFTs, cryptocurrency, the whole Web3 thing.
Exactly.
They're helping businesses integrate those elements into their metaverse projects, whether it's building virtual marketplaces for NFTs or developing tokenized economies within virtual worlds.
It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the economic models and the possibilities for ownership and value creation within the metaverse.
That's right. Blockchain technology opens up a whole new dimension in the metaverse,
Right.
allowing for new forms of digital ownership, commerce and community building.
It's interesting to think about how these different companies are approaching the metaverse from such distinct angles.
Yeah.
Some are focused on the visual experience, others on social interaction, and others on building the underlying economic infrastructure. It's like they're all working on different pieces of the same puzzle.
That's a great analogy, and it highlights the fact that the metaverse is not a monolithic entity.
Right.
It's a collection of interconnected platforms, experiences, and technologies, all evolving and converging in ways we're only beginning to understand. Okay, so we've got Mawari pushing the boundaries of visual fidelity and Bits exploring the potential of blockchain. What about some of the other companies working in this space?
Well, there are a few others worth mentioning. Antia Solutions and Unixoft are both making significant contributions to metaverse development.
Okay.
They offer a range of services,
Yeah.
from building 3D virtual spaces to developing metaverse apps to creating NFT marketplaces.
It sounds like there's a whole ecosystem of companies springing up around the metaverse, each with their own specialty and focus.
Yeah.
And it's not just established companies getting in on the action, right? What about those scrappy startups that are trying to disrupt the status quo?
Absolutely.
Right.
We're seeing a wave of innovative startups emerge,
Yeah.
bringing fresh ideas and new perspectives to the metaverse. One that's caught my eye is Players Only.
Okay.
They're creating a community dream platform specifically for sports and entertainment.
Oh, cool.
Think virtual sports leagues, tournaments, social spaces where fans can connect with each other and even interact with their favorite athletes.
So it's like a virtual sports bar meets a fantasy league, meets a video game, all rolled into one. That's a pretty niche market, but I bet there's a huge audience for that kind of experience.
Definitely. And it highlights how the metaverse can cater to specific interests and communities in ways that traditional media simply can't.
Okay. Players only for the sports fans. What other startups are out there making waves?
Well, there's Engine,
Okay.
which is providing tools and services for creating and managing metaverse assets,
Okay.
particularly NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own blockchain platform, their own cryptocurrency called Engine Corn, and a whole suite of developer tools that make it easier to build metaverse experiences that leverage blockchain technology.
So they're like the infrastructure providers,
Right.
the ones building the tools and platforms that other creators and businesses can use to build their own metaverse experiences.
Absolutely.
That's a pretty crucial role to play.
Absolutely. And it speaks to the collaborative nature of the metaverse, not just one company's vision. It's a collective effort involving developers, artists, entrepreneurs, and users, all contributing to its evolution.
I like that. It's not a top-down approach, it's a grassroots movement.
Yeah.
What other startups are embracing that collaborative spirit?
Another one that stands out is the Sandbox.
Okay.
They've created this decentralized metaverse where users can create, own, and monetize their own gaming experiences.
Wow.
It's all built on voxel-based graphics,
Okay.
kind of like Minecraft, but with the added layer of blockchain technology.
Oh, cool.
So users have true ownership of their creations and can earn cryptocurrency by playing games and participating in the metaverse.
So it's like a user-generated metaverse where the players are also the creators and the owners. That's a pretty radical concept.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a digital democracy where everyone has the power to shape the world around them.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it really underscores the potential of the metaverse to empower individuals and communities in ways we haven't seen before.
Okay, so we've got players only focusing on Sports Engine building the infrastructure, and the Sandbox empowering user-generated content. Any other startups we should have on our radar?
One more I want to mention is Zepeto.
Okay.
They're taking a more social approach to the metaverse, putting a big emphasis on avatar creation and self-expression.
Okay.
Users can create these highly customized avatars, explore virtual worlds, and connect with other users from around the globe. It's less about gaming and more about hanging out, socializing, and expressing yourself.
It's like a virtual playground where you can be whoever you want to be and connect with like-minded people from all over the world.
Exactly. And it highlights the potential of the metaverse to break down geographical barriers and create new forms of social connection.
So as you can see, the metaverse landscape is incredibly diverse,
Yeah.
with companies big and small, established and emerging, all exploring its possibilities. And even though it's still early days, it's clear that there's a ton of energy and excitement surrounding the metaverse.
It's definitely a space to watch. And while we've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical advancements to the ethical considerations to the financial aspects, the best way to truly understand the metaverse is to experience it for yourself.
I completely agree. If you're curious, if you're intrigued, dive in. Explore some of the platforms we've talked about. Try on a VR headset. Create an avatar. You might be surprised by what you discover.
And who knows? You might even find yourself becoming a metaverse pioneer, shaping the future of this digital frontier.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the metaverse.
It does.
We hope this has given you a better understanding of this complex and rapidly evolving space. And remember, the metaverse is a journey, not a destination.
That's right.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of knowledge. And most importantly, keep those critical thinking skills sharp.
That's great advice.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep an eye on the metaverse. It's a world that's just getting started.